Hey everyone, I'm Isaiah from Prather Audio, and today I'm going to be showing you how I mix hip-hop 808s into dense modern metal mixes. So my theory with every mix really depends on what the band's going for, and for this specific record, we had really discussed a lot of different options for how to approach the low end. And the main thing that we were really coming as the focus was that we wanted the hip-hop elements to feel like a hip-hop song, whether or not that meant having to cut back on the metal portions of the song. So with this track in mind, I have this main 808 as kind of the main focus of our low end, and I still have like a crazy balls-to-the-wall bass tone that we have right here. So that's the main bass tone we're going with on this one. For this song, we decided to use MIDI bass. A couple of the songs on the album were using real bass. We kind of just decided, depending on what the song was. The layers that are making up this bass, we have the clean low end. It's ran through a slightly dirty bass amp, but we tried to keep it pretty clean on this one. I like to have whatever is on the low end of my bass, keep it pretty simple because a lot of harmonics will build up on a bass instrument. The mid band sounds like this. That's where we're getting the majority of the distortion of the bass sound. Then I have this slight little layer. As you can tell, those are just kind of playing together, and the little spread one is barely there, but there are some sections where I'll automate it up. That's why I kind of have it clipped up in different sections. And then all together. So then when we add on the main 808, we're coming to really what we're going to be making the main focus of the track. So on this track, I got a couple different things going on. When it was sent to me, it was pretty simple. Not too crazy. I added some Destroyer, which really is just kind of here just to add the distortion to what I'm doing. Next thing I did is added this little SPL transient designer. All I'm really doing is just pushing it a little bit harder just to fatten up the sound. So as you can tell, it just gives it that slightly more like clipped sound. Next thing we got here is just a quick limiter, not doing too much, just really making sure that it's not moving. And this all kind of adds up to what we're going for with that really clipped 808 sound. Next thing on here is a compressor. So this is just getting some sidechain from our EDM kick. This is one of those things that really helps keep the low end clean on something that has this much bass. Here's what the sidechain is doing. So as you could tell, it's really just pulling the 808 down when the kick's in the way, just making a little bit of room, and as you can tell with the settings, it is super, super quick, so we're not doing anything super audible. You shouldn't really hear it pumping too much. So when it comes down to getting the 808 and the bass to work together, the first thing we're going to want to do is get a balance for the two. Like I said, the 808 is one of the most used parts of the low end in the whole song. So you're pretty much going to hear that the whole track. So like I wanted to go with that as being my focus. So when it came to leveling, getting the 808 to the correct volume and then kind of bringing everything up as a layer was what I decided to go for. To keep the hip hop low in the focus, I have this 808 as the main volume. And then when you bring in the bass low end, so my main focus with the bass was making it more so the voicing. So what I have going on here is I have some high end that was kind of getting in the way of the 808 that I kind of just scooped out of the way. So doing that just helps it blend a little bit more with the 808 and kind of makes it one solid instrument, which was kind of the focus that I wanted to go into this. Instead of making them bass, guitar, and an 808, I wanted just to make it one solid instrument. And this is kind of where the sidechaining comes really into focus for me, because the bass relationship changes in the middle of the song. And this is why it's really important to really have a detailed look at everything that's going on in your mix and not just assuming that the settings that you set at the beginning are going to work for the rest of the mix. A lot of this stuff, especially on the low end, it's really, really important that, you know, the key details and automation are made that allow you to do the things you need to do on a part like this. This is the compressor on the bass track that we're doing all the sidechain with. What's happening essentially with this one is when the 808 is playing, we're cutting back on the bass's volume, and that's going to allow us to really focus in on the 808 and let that be the voicing. But when we have a part like this where it comes up where the 808 is actually going to be missing, we want that bass to retake the low end, even if it's for one note. If we leave it where it's at, there's just going to be a note with the kick drum and guitars under it and all these other layers, but the bass is not going to be there to support them all, and it's going to sound like a weak note. So watch this, and as this note is missing, you're going to see that the low end is going to remain where it's at, and it's not going to get cut down. And then if you don't have the sidechain, this is what it would sound like. And then in top of the whole mix. If you're looking for some free hip-hop 808s to use in your own mixes, I've made a free pack that you guys can download in the description. And if there's anything else that I can make a video on that would help you, please let me know by dropping a comment down below or just sending me a message and letting me know. Other than that, that's all I have today. Have a good one and stay creative.